deer hunting adventure I had back about 5 years. Been about 5 years. It was early one morning. I was sitting in the stand, hadn't been seeing anything. Well, when I finally got to the deer, he was wounded. And I didn't want to shoot him again because he wasn't going anywhere. I didn't want to waste another bullet. I pulled out my hunting knife and I grabbed him by the horns, and I was going to do the deer hunter thing and cut his throat so he would die. But when I stuck the knife in, he came back to life and the fight was on. Now, what happened while I was in the stand, I have in my windows so my gun barrel doesn't get scratched while I put it out the window. And the deer came in behind me. I put the gun out the window, got my sight, pulled the trigger, and all I could see was black smoke. This doesn't happen unless you're shooting a black powder rifle. I was not. When the smoke cleared, the carpet had folded against my barrel and I shot through it, set the carpet on fire. But I did hit the deer. When the smoke cleared, I seen him on the ground. He was trying to crawl off with his front legs. By the time I got out of the stand, he was in the woods. When I walked out there, I knew he went in ahead of me. He came in front of where he was at and circled. And I seen him. His hind legs were hung on a small pine tree. He couldn't go forward. Couldn't back up. That's when I got my knife out to cut his throat. My gun was leaning against a tree. When I hit him with the knife, he comes up off the ground on his front legs, and we're fighting. I threw the knife so I wouldn't get stuck. And then when I got where I could get loose from him without getting horned, I went back over and I picked up my gun and said, "Let's shoot him." No, he done been shot. He done been stabbed. I'm just going to wait. 3 or 4 minutes later, I said, well, I'll try it again. I picked up my knife. I walked back over. I grabbed the deer by the horn. I raised his head up, and I went to the other side of his neck. And when I stuck the knife in him, again, he came up. I wrapped my legs around him and locked my legs around him. Then I come across and finally got the end result that I was looking for. Dropped him and got away from him until he was done for. But
how big was that one?
8 point. He weighed about 190 pounds. Pretty good size.
How much do you weigh?
180. It's a pretty good fight.
Horns and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Else, yeah.
8 point rack. Same thing had happened to my daddy several years ago, but he didn't actually hit the deer. He just grazed his head and knocked him out. So his deer was fully alive when he had that wrestle.
Yourself? It's dangerous. It was fighting with you.
It was no fun.
Where were you?
In my presidential suite on my hunting lease.
Oh.
All our stands are named, and I'm the president. So
you witness any haunting out there?
Hunting?
Haunting.
Hauntings?
Yeah. You hear anything?
No, but I've heard some creatures out there hollering that didn't know exactly what it was till I found out we had cougars and panthers on the lease. Yeah. We got bobcats. They say we've got bear, but I've been hunting out there 50 years and I've never seen a bear. I've seen everything else. Wolves.
Hi.
Hello.
Can I help you?
Do you have a menu?
We don't have any printed out.
Oh, yeah. It's right here.
Years ago, my dad, he was out in Spring Hill and he was on a tree, stayed the night, and it was a good land of and thought that maybe some kids were just out there having a good time. The whole night he was tossing and turning, but he never looked. He felt glare of fire, but he could hear that. But when he got up the next morning, he's nowhere. Nobody, no sign of any presence. No campfire.
You believe in UFOs?
No.
They're real.
I follow Candace Owens and she'll deep dive. She's a real big podcaster. Have you ever heard of her?
I love her.
I'll follow her. But what's that flight? That Malaysian flight? 370?
The one that they couldn't find and finally found bits and pieces.
Did you see the footage? Some expert on there? The footage of the airline?
I mean, I follow her as much as I can, but I don't get to.
Did you see that segment? I'll have to look up
I didn't see it
for you.
Oh, I found it.
She had an expert on there, and that came with satellite view of the plane. It's flying, but there's like white orbs circling it while it's flying. 3 of them. And then it goes in behind a cluster of cloud, the plane with it, and it's gone. Never reemerges.
A black hole or a wormhole.
Right. And so you believe in that? Then they did an infrared version of it, and the orbs are still like a scene from a movie. Mm-hmm. But I'd have to find it for you.
I have seen too many things not to believe in UFOs. Me and my son were out camping on an island one night, just sleeping bags and a fire, fishing. We're laying there and just got into sleeping bags, and he looks up and says, "Daddy, what's that light over there?" I said, "It's a camp over there. That's a street light that they've got over the camp." He said, "But it's moving." I said, "No, it's not. You just think it is." We laid there a few minutes watching it, and then all at once this light rises up, and it whoosh, and it's gone. True story. My son throws his head up on the sleeping bag and zips it up. I said, "It's too late for all that. If they want us, they'd have had us."
That's part of the reason why I don't believe they exist. It's because if anything was here, from outer space, obviously they're a higher technology. Mm-hmm. In terms of, if they're friendly, I can see that they're just amongst us. But chances are, I don't believe they would be friendly. Anything coming from, it's going to be friendly. So they would have taken over.
You got all these conspiracy theories about UFOs and aliens. They say they started life on Earth as humans, a lesser form of them. I don't believe in all that stuff, but I do believe that there's something out there. Kind of like the X Files, they're out there.
Do you believe they're here?
Well, I don't know if they're here or not, but I believe they've been here. I don't know if they're human or if they're ETs or what, but I do believe in them.
Okay.
My dad very strictly does not believe in anything UFO except for an unidentified flying object as another plane that has not been identified. He called me one night. He lived southeast of me. And he called me one night and he says, "Need you to go outside and look down the bottom of the hill from your house, coming from towards my house, and see what that light is." So I go out and I look. I have no idea what it is. It's a bright, non-flashing light at night. And I tell my wife, "Go in the house and get me my bright spotlight. It's plugged in the wall." She comes out with it. I take the light. There's a big field across the street from my house. I take the light and I start Morse coding this light, just messing around. And it's going due north. When I start Morse coding this thing, it turns due west.
You told it to?
I was just flashing at the light.
Is that what you were
making
Morse
signals.
coding for it to do what it did?
So it came over and stopped above my house. Well, I'm shining the light all out in the field. Go ahead and land over here. My wife says, "Turn the light out, turn the light out." She's scared to death. I turn the light out. This thing now has disappeared. It's just vanished. It was over top of the house. And it's probably 200 feet high. I shine the light up there, looking for it. And this is a bright light. Nothing. Can't find anything at all.
You and your son's experience, other experience, why do you not have cameras to capture it?
I do now. But it's this light. So I turned the light on trying to find this thing over my house, and there was no reflection. There was nothing there. I turned the light off. We're standing there talking, and all at once, the windows in my house, you could hear them rattling.
No.
There was not much noise, just a light hum. And this thing comes up, and it's just a bright flash, gone. Never seen it again. Now, she asked me why I was shining a light out in the field. I said, "Well, I was trying to get them to land and take us for a ride." She cussed me out shortly after that. But I've seen a lot of things.
So you got cameras now.
I do, but they're just, I've got them on the house, watching my yard, and I've got, I don't know, a cell phone camera, but when you're prepared, you don't see it.
Of course not. Not too long ago, sometime last year, some family in Texas claimed there was a UFO that landed in their backyard. Okay, it was all over TikTok, and they called the cops, and the cops are showing up, and it's a big creature that stepped out of it. It's a big creature that stepped out of it, and the whole family was just like, no one has a phone in their hand other than when they're in the front yard. It's all over TikTok. Waiting for a footage. I want to see the footage of you walking back there. They're like, "It's back there. It's back there." And the cops were helping them out. The cop was like, "We gotta get out of here. We gotta stay." I'm like, it was everyday you and me people. This is 2024. Let's see the
Nobody goes around without a phone. I've never seen one up close and personal, but I've seen things, unexplainable things in the sky. Some no more than 200 or 300 feet above me at black night. I saw at work one day about years ago in the oil field. One of my men stopped working and looked up in the sky and said, "What in the hell is that?" And I'm like, "Boy, don't be playing no games. We got to finish and go home." "No, look in the sky." I turned around and looked. It was daylight. And there was this long, shiny like a mirror object in the sky, miles and miles and miles away, shaped like a cigar. Way too far away to be a plane and look as big as it looked. This thing must have been 100 yards or long. It was long. It was big. We watched it for 10 minutes just sailing across the sky before it disappeared. Don't know what that was.
You don't think it's the government just messing with us just to deflect from their shady crap?
Could be, because they had the stealth fighters here, and nobody knew what those things were before they finally announced. They had them for several years before we found out about a stealth fighter. And an example about what they have we don't know about. I was going to work one night from Vivian, Louisiana to Spring Ridge, Louisiana, working at the sheriff's office. Going down the road, and I see this bright light up above the highway, just a little ways above treetop. I stop underneath it. It's sitting there hovering. It's dark. I can't see anything but lights. Didn't have a spotlight, but I had a deer rifle in the car. I get the deer rifle out, and I pull up on that object with my scope, trying to see what it is. Still can't see anything but lights. A very light hum. You couldn't hear any like real loud engine noise. So I said, I'm seeing my very first, what they call that airplane that takes off straight up.
Flying saucer?
No, it's a military aircraft.
Oh, you tell me.
I'm trying to think of it. It's not the Stealth. It's another one.
Helicopter?
No, it's a plane. Anyway, I go on to work, and when I get there,
A space shuttle?
nope, it's a plane.
It's a plane.
It's a military plane.
Jeez.
It can take off straight up and then fly.
Fighter jet?
No, it's a fighter or some type, but I'm trying to think of a particular name.
Think about it.
I had the name before we started talking. I get to work, and I'm working that night with a black guy named Flanor Archery. We sitting outside at night talking. And I said, I saw my very first one of those planes tonight. And he says, well, what did it look like? And I told him. He said, what was it doing? And I sitting above the rope, just sitting there. And he says, brother, I don't know what you seen, but it wasn't what you thought it was, because I'm ex-military. That's what was my job in the Air Force, working on planes. And I can tell you right now, there's not one of them within 100 miles of here. So I don't know what that was. I wish I could remember the name of that aircraft.
Well, they were transparent with us and stopped doing this mess to us. You remember the drones about 2 months ago? They wouldn't say, they wouldn't reveal. And then Trump just outed it last week. By the way, President Trump wants the people to know that it was military. It was just surveying drones. And some of them were from citizens.
I'm trying to think of the name of that plane. That's going to get me to the rest of the day.
Pam Bondi got sworn in today. Confirmed today.
What was it?
Pam Bondi, the new Attorney General, Trump's pick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You see where he's cleaning house.
The government's getting audited instead of us. What's so hard to take in and to appreciate it?
And I'm going to let you keep talking while I'm running through my brain trying.
I keep throwing you off because
I'm trying to remember
I'm
that
not
plane.
organized. I didn't see anything on Facebook.
I didn't put it on there. I only caught 12. There's the 89-year-old man that fishes with me. Last week on Tuesday, we went to Caddo Lake. We caught 4 fish. I caught 3. He caught 1. I took them all. He didn't want to play with them, so I took them home, cleaned them. The 3 that I caught, I cut them up into fish strips like fillets, and then I cleaned his hole. With those 4 fish, I put 14 strips in 3 different bags and in 1 whole fish. So that's what, 14, 20, 30, 42 strips out of 3 fish. This week we go back Tuesday. Instead of going to Caddo, we went to Cross Lake. Wasn't a very good day. There was no wind. You need a little bit of wind when you're fishing for catfish to push the boat. And that drags the bait, and then the fish find it when it's dragging by them. So not a very good day, but we still wound up catching 12. I caught 11. Nice. He caught 1.
Wow. You do the jug fishing?
I have. I love it. That's fun. But you got to be able to stay with them, because I done that one night, and I went to sleep on the island. And when I got up the next morning, I had to chase some of those things more than a mile away from where I had put them out at. And some of them I never found. Catfish, you get them, and they'll go across the lake with them somewhere.
I wish I had a lake. I'd be doing that all the time.
The jet I was trying to think of is a Harrier jet.
A Harrier jet?
Harrier jet. That was what I was trying to think of.
Let me see. A Harrier jet. Never heard of it until now.
It's a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that can also use a runway and take off the regular way. They're made for aircraft carriers for the Navy, so that they don't have to use the runway.
Okay, so they do look like the jets we see.
Mm-hmm. They have engines that tilt, so they push the plane straight up. And that's kind of where they got the ideas for these flying cars that they have now. Because their engines rotate.
We're so close to it. And this was in the 60s.
Yep.
I wonder why it's taking so long for them to go from there. For flying cars. Elon Musk.
I can tell you what it was, because I studied all this. I looked up on it. They came out with a guy in California. He came out with something called the VTL 5000. And it was a flying car that he invented, and he had the FFA and some other people and investors come out. And he was going to demonstrate his flying car. It was shaped just like a round flying saucer like you see on the cartoons. Open cockpit. He gets in it. He's going to fly this thing for his investors. FFA tells him you have to have safety cables hooked on it. You can only do a short flight. It has to be just right here above us. And you can't go anywhere. So they hook the cables to him. He lifts the thing up off the ground and hovers for 5 or 10 minutes and lands it. That was the first one. Since then, they've come out with all these other different versions. You'll see them like what's the thing that you're just talking about?
Harrier jet?
No, the little
propellers, flying saucers,
the ones that Trump told us about.
Oh, the drones?
Drones, yeah. You'll see a lot of them that are built like drones now, the newer versions. In the original versions, they had engines. This first one that came out with had 8 engines. They weighed 78 pounds apiece. The engines would twist and turn in their body of the car. And when you turn them down, the car would take off straight up. And then when you leveled them out, it would fly forward or up or down, whichever way you turned it. I was in the sheriff's office when I seen this thing, and I was reading up on it. So one night we stopped. It was 3 deputies. We got together at the local gas station having coffee and donuts. We're sitting at a table, and they're all discussing what their next patrol car, what they want. Well, when they get through talking about theirs, I say, I want the Motor VTL 5000. They said, what's that? And about that time, this guy behind me, listening to our conversation, says, what do you know about the Motor VTL? I said, just what I've seen in the popular science magazines and in the newspapers and different places, articles. He says, well, I'm an investor in that. He says, would you like to be an investor? I said, well, I don't know. What would it take? He said, a minimum of 25,000. I said, well, I think I'll skip right now while they come out mass production and get me one then. But he brought me a packet, up-to-date packet on everything on that vehicle. He left it at the maintenance, at the dispatch office for the sheriff's office with my name on it. Mm-hmm. It went all around the sheriff's office before it finally made it back to me, who it was originally sent to. And when I got it, of course, I've still got it. It's in my attic somewhere. But it told all the details about this thing. It's made out of Kevlar. You can get 2 or 4 seats. It's like a stick steering. It's simple. You pull back on the stick, you go up. You push down on the stick, you go down. Back it to the right or left, whichever way you want to go with the stick. It does all of it. And it has, of course, pedals or whatever for the speeds and all that.
It's made. It's at the sheriff's department.
No. That's where I was reading about it at.
Okay.
The inventor was the guy in California that first came out with it. Mm-hmm. But now you can get all kinds of versions. I saw one the other day. Guy's driving down the road in this 3-wheel car, and it's got all these funky-looking attachments to it. Mm-hmm. So when he gets where he's going, he gets out and he pushes buttons, and these things come up and fold out, and it's got wings. Then he pushes another button, and up comes a tail fin, and it's got a big rotor back on the back of it. It's just an airplane car, but it's a flying car.
And that's the opportunity they offered you as an investment.
Well, as an investor, mm-hmm. I would be privileged to get one of the first ones off the line when they started manufacturing them. Mm-hmm. But first manufacturers were going to be like $200,000 per unit. That's just the handmade version.
Oh, they gave you an option to invest to become an owner, not
an early
not
owner.
Like a stock in it. Or
well, it would be part stock too, but you would be privileged enough to get one of the first ones since you are an investor. You know, I mean, if me and Joe Blow goes in there and he doesn't know anything about it, but he tries to buy one ahead of me, he can't unless I give up my option. They were like $200,000 a piece when they first come out, or were going to be. And then after mass production, like GM or somebody, GM bought the patent for them. But if they had ever gone into mass production, they were going to be around the same price as a luxury Cadillac with all the bells and whistles.
And that's like $400,000 or $500,000.
No. They were going to be, the luxury Cadillac was going to be somewhere around $75,000 or $80,000.
I was thinking Bentley.
More affordable for me, but still out of range. So then, the holdback on it, they had everything perfected. They could fly this thing anywhere. But they couldn't get in the air because FFA says we need some kind of onboard tracking system because we can't have you up there in the air with hundreds and hundreds of these little personal vehicles flying around with all the aircrafts. You know, everybody has their airspace. Mm-hmm. Just a recent reminder here, the plane and helicopter that just crashed recently. Yeah. The helicopter was 200 or 300 feet above what his flight pattern was supposed to be when he hit that plane. Mm-hmm. So that was the major holdback. I don't know what's happened since then. I don't know what the tracking system or anything's going with now. But that was why they hadn't gone into mass production before I left Sheriff's Office.
Because they refused to put a tracker in there.
Well, they didn't know how. I mean, you're talking about not just a few thousand planes in the country in certain areas, but we're talking about you see how many cars are on the road. If all those people get flying cars, where are they going to fly? They got to have different flight patterns because if the roads are plenty crowded as it is, mm-hmm. and it looks like you got this big full sky, they can fly anywhere. But if they don't have something telling them to stay off of this certain height, They crash into each other.
They don't know how to put a tracker in it.
Well,
Why can't they just emulate what the airlines do?
Because the airline doesn't have near as many vehicles in the air as what you would have if you had private citizens
Oh, it's too
flying
much.
everywhere.
It would be too much
Congestion.
to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
They are still working on it. I imagine probably by 2040 or so that we'll all be flying cars if we're still around.
Interesting. I didn't know that was going on.
GM actually bought that patent and they killed it later on. But now, I mean,
That
you
was
got
when, the 90s?
that was in '92 when the last I read on it. But you know, now you got these drones that people can step up on and stand on them and fly them. They've got drones that you can sit in and fly.
Yeah, human-sized drones. They
look like cars.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I want me one.
But that would kind of be like a flying vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to find a spot for. Same deal. Yeah.
You're going to get too congested if everybody has one.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
But I'd love to have me one to go deer hunting with. Oh, look, there's one.
Then there wouldn't be any more deers.
Well,
You know?
yeah, because if everybody's like me, they're only going to shoot certain ones.
The ones in the sky. Well, they're using drones to deliver.
I saw that. Delivering packages.
Yeah.
Fast foods and everything else.
Already. Fast food too? I know they were trying it out at Walmart, Texas.
Yeah, I saw that one, the video.
Yeah.
I saw it was an island, and the mainland was just like a mile or so on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought fast food to the island and set it on the patio for the people.
Yeah, I think I'm going to look into getting a drone pilot license, just for the heck of it.
You want one to deliver with or one to fly?
One to deliver with. One that's going to make money. That would be an investment.
Bought it. And you know, I told you I'd like to have one for deer hunting, but I'm talking about one I could actually get in.
Mm-hmm.
But the one I bought has a camera, and it's Bluetooth to my phone. I've never took it out of the box. I've had it for probably 7 or 8 years. Mm. I'm just saving it for the grandkids later on.
You've had it for a while. How much was it?
It's about $120 when I bought it.
Oh. You know what's cool is the ocean fishing. The shore fishermen, they're using the drones to cast their bait.
Oh, man. I saw that work. Are you talking about shore fishing? Mm-hmm. I saw that one. Guy takes it, flies it way out, and then probably 3 or 4 times as far as you could cast it, and then drops it. I saw that. Yeah, isn't that pretty cool? A few of them are viral doing that. I thought that was neat. You know, there's just no end to the things that you could be doing now. Yeah. And no end to what's coming. Mm-hmm. Well, do you believe in space travel for humans? No. Exactly. Are you any kind of religious? Yes, I am, but I don't let it conflict. Do you believe in the firmament? Yes, I do. Hold on. Flat Earth or round Earth? Round. I've been too many places to know that there's no flat. I mean, what happens to the ships if they reach the end of the flat? What happens to planes that fly around the world? Oh, the firmament. I just watched a theory on that not long ago. You've heard of the Bermuda Triangle. All the ships and planes and everything that goes through there crashes and burns and never found again. Well, I heard that was a government conspiracy. You know that the NASA landing on the moon was a video that was not true, never happened. And even the astronauts are telling us it never happened. The firmament is supposed to be impenetrable, and all of the weather, the rain, the tornadoes, everything that comes from within this dome, this firmament. All of the rockets that they've shot up trying to go to the moon or whatever that blow up, it's because they can't penetrate the firmament. Are we a planet amongst other planets in space? I believe so. Okay. I believe there's other planets because you can see certain things, like Mars. You can see Mars. It's red. I mean, it's got to be something other than just a star. Space is real. Mm-hmm. Space is real. I just don't. I don't think we can travel through space. Right. I think we're locked in. And that's another theory about the UFOs. Where do they come from if they can't penetrate the firmament? But the theory that I was watching about the Bermuda Triangle, the government is supposed to be covering up all the lost rockets that they shoot up. They say they go up, they hit the firmament, they bend, and then they come back down and crash. And at the apex and all these different dimensions and all that they show, they all crash in the same place. Guess what that is? The Bermuda Triangle. Okay. They say that's where it makes them come down. Well, they don't want anybody going in there and diving and discovering all these NASA rockets and stuff that the government has sent up, all piled up here in this little circle in the Bermuda Triangle. So they say, you go in there and something happens and you don't come back out. I don't know. Maybe they're not coming back out because the government's not letting. I don't trust our. Well, I trust our government more now than I ever have.
Yeah.
But I didn't trust it for the last 4 years.
They really pushed that Bermuda Triangle on us.
Mm-hmm.
Mysteries of the Unexplained, I think.
Yeah.
I think that was the series.
So.
That creeped me out. And then they sold books on it.
Mm-hmm. And movies out there.
They pushed that. We were just kids, but they pushed it. Scared the crap out of me. But that's a conspiracy. I didn't know that was going on. That's where they were dumping waste.
Well, that's just another one of the theories that we got going. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I watched on the. It was a news site that I watched on. I can't remember. It's, you know, when you scroll through the videos and you see them and different people put them on there. Mm-hmm. They were trying to say that it's haunted. There's a fog, and once you hit that fog, you don't come back out. Yeah. They're trying to say there's sea monsters that are 10 times as big as the ships coming through that suck them down into the bottom and crush them and leave them. All different kinds of things they're trying to say to keep you out of there. That's wild about sea monsters. I mean, if they're sea monsters, they would be all around too. They'd surface somehow, right? Somebody would see them somewhere besides the Bermuda Triangle. Where are they claiming it's located? The Bermuda Triangle? Somewhere out there. And I'm sure it's somewhere around Bermuda. I guess they just get murdered or something. Mm-hmm. Killed, you know. Well, they don't like people going in there. Human space travel, radiation, all of that's going on. So the firmament was brought to my attention maybe a couple of years ago, you know, and it really did make sense to me. That's another thing about, like I said, the UFOs. If we can't get out, how do they get in? But, I mean, I believe in God and all that kind of stuff like that. You know, that's true. Another thing about the firmament, the Earth, as the Earth rotates, there's an opening at a certain time, at a certain point, position. It's possible that that's where the shuttles are exiting. There's an opening, and then what they're calling the wormhole or the black hole is actually an exit through the firmament. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. True enough. You know, these flat Earth crazy people are trying to say that we don't rotate. They're saying we never move. They're saying the sun and the moon go around us. I don't see that. I haven't believed the evidence that's been presented as far as that goes, but there's been several. Neil Tyson deGrasse. I can't he's remember like a world famous scientist, and he's really brilliant. He debunks it. These flat Earth. You know, back in the days of Columbus and all the sailors that were before him, they always thought it was flat, but they could never sail off the end of the ocean. Mm-hmm. If you can't sail off of it, then you must be sailing around it. Yeah, that's what makes sense. What's in actual record? Columbus. Uh-huh. Is the Earth round, flat? I think he determined it to be round. I'd have to go back and look at it. But I'm sure. Galileo proven too. Mm-hmm. So did Einstein. These people come up with these theories. I think a lot of them. I think the flat Earth theory is just strictly to get views and videos. Yeah. I don't think. I hate to say it, but my youngest daughter thinks the Earth is flat. I told her, I said, you know, you can think what you want to, but until you get up above it and look down at it, mm-hmm. you can't make that determination. Yeah. I mean, they've got too many videos of rockets and planes and stuff up in the air that shine that video on the Earth. Mm-hmm. And you can tell it's not a flat surface, it's a round ball. Even when you're taking pictures of other planets, it's round. The moon is round. The moon, the sun. The moon, all of it's round. I watched a video and read it the other day that this guy's saying that the sun is not a planet. It's a ship. Have you seen that one? No, I haven't seen that one. Look it up. I can't remember what it said about it exactly, but they were talking about that it was not a planet. It was actually a ship, and it was there to give us light and all. But it had been invented before mankind. Invented or discovered? Invented. It was built, but who? Who built it before mankind? God. Well, that's the only way I'd say. But I don't see him building a vehicle engulfed in flames. Yeah. Why not just build what he says it is, the sun, a big ball of fire? Mm-hmm. It's a star. That's what it actually is. They might have based it on this guy's theory. There's this movie where the moon was actually a ship. I saw that one too. That's where he went in through all these different portals getting into the inside of the moon. Mm-hmm. And then he had to blow up a ship or something inside there. Something like that. Yeah, I saw that. I can't remember the actor. You know, I used to never watch TV. If I did, it was a Western. But then I got retired, and then I started watching series, and I started watching all this other stuff. So I watch so many now that I can't remember what the name of this one was and how these two were a lot alike and all. Oh, yeah. It's hard for me to recall plots and twists of the movie. Let me go rewatch it so I can tell you. Yeah, a couple of series I watched here recently. I just finished Covert Affairs. Persons of Interest was another really good series. Oh, it was great. It was before its time. Yeah. And then the one that I watched when I first started watching, I said, I'm not going to be able to watch this show. This is just goofy. It was a movie or a series about a game warden, and his name was Joe Pickett. That was the name of the series. But this guy just looked like, I'm country, so I can say this. He looked country dumb. But he was really smart. He found out all the corruption and everything going on in his town.
That came across my For You page.
It's a good series. It's not very long, but it's a good series.
Yeah.
And then one of the comedy ones that I'm waiting on to come back out is Resident Alien.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's quirky. I'm surprised
It's
you're
real
into
quirky.
something like that.
Well, I wasn't going to watch
Like
it.
you're a realist.
When it first came on, it was like, okay, an alien show. And this alien kills this doctor that was in really bad health, about to die anyway. So he picked him out because he was dying, and he assumed his identity and became the doctor in town. He had his body and everything. And then it turned into a comedy.
It got kind of crazy.
Yeah.
My sister was watching it. I didn't until the end because my sister was still watching it. That actor, he's funny. They're ready
to have another series coming out in late 25, early 26.
I couldn't even remember how it ended.
I don't either. I don't remember.
Aliens and UFOs.
Thank y'all for listening. I'll see y'all next round. This is Johnny Davis. Bye.